We are going to take a look at the biggest winners and losers from the WNBA draft lottery on Sunday. Amazingly, UConn, who had a big win against North Carolina after the lottery, might have sustained the biggest loss during the lottery, but more on that later. First, obviously, the big winner was the Indiana Fever, as they had a 44% chance to get the number one pick, and they got it. Now, at this stage, we do not know who is staying or going, as the big domino is Caitlin Clark, but just the chance to pair center Aaliyah Boston, a generational center, with generational guard wing Caitlin Clark is unbelievable and should have Fever fans drooling. This would be the WNBA version of Shaq and Kobe. Now, I think it's important for me to acknowledge that I've previously done a video on the pros and cons of Clark and Becker's going to the WNBA, and I essentially said they would be mad to leave college early with eligibility on the table. My main arguments being that they are making just as much as they would in the WNBA through NIL. As well, the conditions are better in college than in the WNBA. As Brianna Stewart pointed out, UConn flies charter, which cannot be said for the WNBA. Now, Clark did a bit of a tease interview with Aaliyah Boston, and they talked about how they were and might be teammates again. And she holds all the power and likely the keys to the future of Iowa, Indiana, and UConn. Now, Iowa and UConn fans are likely saying that that was just a bit of a tease interview and give the people what they want. And why would she leave Iowa? Their argument would be, why would she give up another year of being the biggest thing in women's basketball to take a pay cut and get worse travel conditions? Well, in a nutshell, this is why. Simply, the time is right. Eventually, she will have to go pro. If not this year, then next year when her eligibility runs out. Now, if you are not aware, the WNBA draft lottery is not based on just the current season records. No, it is the records of the previous 2 years, hence why the Seattle Storm had the second worst season in 2023, but had the worst odds to win the draft lottery at 10.4% due to how good they were in 2022 when they lost to the Las Vegas Aces in the conference championship. But come 2024, and the Storm are likely to have the best chance to win the lottery with a 44% chance like the Fever had in this lottery. Because of this, the certainty of electing to go into the draft in the 24 season might be real appealing to Clark, as she is a Midwestern girl, versus the uncertainty of having to go to another location like the Great Northwest. Also playing a potential factor in this, if you are not aware, she is dating Connor McCaffrey. They went public on Instagram with the relationship. If you're not aware, he played for the Iowa men's basketball team. His dad is the coach of the Iowa team, and it seems likely his future is in coaching. And what do you know? He happened to score a job with the Indiana Pacers, which he started in September of 2023. And surprise, surprise, the Pacers and the Fever are owned by the same owner, Herb Simon. Now, this is not the case with all franchises. Mark Cuban, for instance, does not own the Dallas Wings, but this is the case in Indiana. So you can see the Fever, who are also the Pacers, have done well by hiring Clark's boyfriend. Do you want to come out this year and be in the same location with your boyfriend and play with Aaliyah Boston? Or do you want to take a chance and maybe you wind up in Seattle far, far away? But as well, I want to make sure I give you all the facts, and there is one very, very enticing option for Clark deciding to stay in school and taking a chance on 2025, and that reason might just be New York, who have a good chance of landing the number one pick. You see, they hold the swap rights with Phoenix pick in 2025, who just had the worst WNBA record in 2023. The Mercury will have Taurasi on a max contract in 24 and have decisions to make on their roster. It's pretty clear that Skylar Diggins-Smith is gone, but the future on Brittany Griner is unclear as she is a free agent. She says she wants to stay with the Mercury, but it's certainly unclear at this stage. To go along with the roster uncertainty, throw in a new coach, Nate Tibbetts, and it all is very unclear. They might, with the Vanessa Nygaard experiment ending, or it could be the ultimate tire fire. But if it is a tire fire, then my God, the Liberty could wind up with the number one pick. Hence why the Mercury are a big loser on the lottery day. Not only did you not score a top 2 pick and get one of the generational talents or have the chance to get one of those, as well, you might lose out next year as well and watch New York score a very good player with your pick, no less. So what do you see Clark doing? For me, I've changed my mind on this. So, like I said, I thought previously it was a no-brainer that she would return to the Hawkeyes, but now I just don't see what much more she can do with the Hawkeyes. Even if she does not win a championship this year, I would think her legacy is complete with the tournament that she had in 2023 and the numbers she's put up over her collegiate career. But noting the internet's forever, I might look like a clown on this and be laughed at in 4 months' time. We will see. But then this ties into Paige Bueckers in terms of college legacy. If the draft had gone as was anticipated with the number 1 pick going to Indiana, then the Suns scoring the number 2 pick and the Sparks 3 and the Storm 4, then I would have put my money firmly on Paige Bueckers returning to UConn, as unlike Clark, she has not really completed her legacy in college, which is when you go to UConn, you need to win a championship. Now at this stage, now don't get mad UConn Nation, but it seems unlikely UConn is going to win the championship due to all the injuries to Fudd and everybody else. But if they would have won the championship, then I could have seen her going to any of the other 3 teams as the number 2 pick. If the Storm would have landed the number 2 pick, it would have been Paige Bueckers replacing previous point guard legend and filling the shoes of Sue Bird. Or if the Mercury would have retained the number 2 pick or scored the number 2 pick as anticipated, it would have been UConn legend taking the keys to the Mercury, or taking the keys from former UConn legend Diana Taurasi, and she's handing over the keys, and it would have been this whole being mentored by the GOAT and future GOAT and all that sort of stuff. The third option was the LA Sparks, and they did score the 2 pick. And even though, or should I say, even if Paige Bueckers does not win a championship this season for UConn, it will be damn enticing to try to turn down going into the WNBA draft. And here is why. Bueckers has had multiple knee injuries, and to pass up the chance of LA and risk another year at UConn trying to go injury-free is a big, big risk. She is the queen of NIL, and just think about the exposure and opportunities LA would offer. If Bueckers declared for the draft, it is a certainty, in my opinion, that the Sparks would take her, as Magic Johnson, the prominent member of the Sparks ownership group, loves himself stars, and none would be bigger than Paige Bueckers in LA. Hence why I think UConn, who got a big win over North Carolina, suffered the biggest loss they've had this season prior to the start of the game when the LA Sparks landed the number 2 pick. Now for your thoughts, comments, and poison. Do you think Caitlin Clark will declare for the WNBA draft at the end of the season? And if so, do you think Paige Beckers is going pro as well? As always, your thoughts, your comments, your poison. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Good night.